Central help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They make it happen.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host.
Coming up next on Talk Today, it's Education Day. We hear how the iRead for Life Center represented Cayman at the World Literacy Summit 2025 in Oxford, the work that they do with children struggling to read, and we'll talk about education in Cayman. That's next. Stay with me.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Charles Glidden, your guest host. And whether you're grabbing some lunch, driving around and running errands, or sneaking a little radio time at work, thank you for tuning in. Reading. It's one of the most, if not the most important academic skill that a person needs to function in everyday life. Yet many children and adults struggle to read at a satisfactory level. Today we hear about the iRead for Life Center and how they are helping children in Cayman to learn to read, and also how two iRead for Life delegates represented Cayman at the World Literacy Summit 2025 at Oxford University. In the studio with me are Vinette Glidden, the CEO and founder of the iRead for Life Center. She's also the developer of the grassroots phonics and grammar method that is used at the center. Chanda Glidden, she's the president of iRead for Life Cayman, a registered non-profit organization that raises funds for scholarships and materials. And also Annell Smith, who is a reading facilitator at the iRead for Life Center. And just for transparency's sake, yes, the two Gliddens are my family, and I do have an interest in the center. So all interest declared. Ladies, it's great to have you here in the studio with me. In the intro, I said reading is one of, if not the most important academic skill that one can have. Let's do a round here. Is it the most important or one of the most?
It's still the most important. But before we get to that, I want to take everybody back to the old days. He's talking about reading as being the most important thing that we have. Let's think about 40 years ago. Roughly. These studios, we were just looking back at the big boards that we had to work to bring stories to children. This gentleman, we probably want to say, is an icon or a legend. I mean, probably overused.
Especially at Radio Cayman.
At Radio Cayman, yes. Because 2 o'clock in the night, if I can remember and I recall, we were here cutting tapes with, and he just mentioned to someone here how he cut his finger so many times on the tape. But he would read stories for children every Saturday morning. And what was that? That was Children's Roundabout. Children's Roundabout. But you know what is funny? I was in the background making all the noises, all the goat sounds and all the door sounds. I mean, I was there. I mean, the prop person having fun with children, reading stories for children.
This will also become relevant, the sounds, later on.
Right. Yes, as we get into the show, we'll talk some more about that. Then we can get to more serious stuff.
So let's hear, Chanda, reading the most important or one of the most important?
The most. My reason for saying that is because you have, even with math, and, like, big up to all the math and science people out there, but even when you're doing math, if you can't read a math problem, how are you going to answer it if you don't even know what it's asking? Yeah, so right. You can't learn I won't say you can't learn another language if you can't read, but you'll be more efficient and fluent in that language if you can read. And this is across the board, no matter what language you speak. We focus on English at the moment, but I say reading is still the number one. It takes you from everywhere. And reading also, if I can go, I'm not the professional here on the reading, but it also goes into the processing.
And problem solving.
Problem solving and that critical thinking that sometimes many may say is lacking in today's society.
Annell, what's your vote?
Yeah, so I would agree wholeheartedly with what Chanda just said. And just to say, it's the foundation. If you cannot read, the rest of it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do.
So that's it. Yeah. Reading, we can't really get along very well in life without knowing how to read, at least the basics of it.
A matter of fact, there was something in the news about this woman who left education, this teacher who left education because of, and then we'll get into that subject of AI. But she left because she thought that children were being read to. They weren't reading enough. They were depending on someone else to read it for them. They can go and listen to it auditorily. So they had no interest in reading. So that affects writing because now they're not talking. They're just listening to somebody telling them everything. And now they don't even have to process. Go back to math. They're not even thinking about it. They're not processing. They're not problem solving. And she just couldn't take it anymore. So she quit.
Well, what are the 3 R's? Reading, writing, and arithmetic? So if you can't, arguably, if you can't read, how do you do the other?
How do you do the other? I think reading is the foundation to independence. I mean, if you don't read, if you can't read, how can you live independently? I think it's a big footstep to independence.
Yeah. You won't know how to text and read a text.
Exactly.
Well, that takes us back to the World Literacy Foundation, which you have introduced as Mr. Glidden. We have.
Well, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, the World Literacy is a nonprofit organization that is striving to ensure that every child, regardless of their geographical location, has the opportunity to acquire literacy skills, which will make them and ensure that they become citizens and work at their highest potential. And yes, the organization was made to help that many children, all children over the world.
So the World Literacy Foundation is who organizes the summit, the World Literacy Summit.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of background about that. Like the gentleman, Dr. Green, when he made his opening message, his welcome message, gave us a little bit of history. He said back in the days, 20 years ago, there's a man, Dr. Anthony Cree, and he was working with the Aborigines in Australia, and he formed a foundation. And this gentleman, who is now the CEO of the World Literacy Foundation, went and saw his work and say, if they can do it in Australia, they can do it worldwide. So they got together and they developed the World Literacy Foundation. Now, the World Literacy Foundation, something I really want to say that I found interesting was 13 years ago, the World Literacy Foundation gave their first summit at Oxford University. 13 years ago, iRead for Life was in the process of being formed to move to Georgetown and be established in the Barnett Building. And 13 years ago, a small group of those delegates to the World Literacy Foundation wrote the declaration, the Oxford Declaration, which Dr. Green was a part of. And this declaration established that the right of literacy for all humans. And it was written actually for the United Nations. So that's a little bit of history.
That's the foundation of it.
And we got to sign that.
And we
when
got
we were
really?
there.
Yes,
yeah.
we got to sign
When we were there
it.
on the last day, there was a big poster and everybody signed it.
So that was the declaration?
That was the declaration, the Oxford Declaration for Literacy, yeah. So we got to sign it.
And look at look at our website. Look at our we're going to have it all posted with Ms. Annell and myself on the social media. It will be all over of us standing there with big grins. We were so excited. We were so, like, it was fantastic. I can't tell you the energy. It was the greatest high ever. And I'm going, I would love to take some Caymanian teachers here to see this. It was like, again, I have so much stories, by the way. I do have a degree to talk. So let me tell you another story about when it was 2017. I woke up one morning and I saw a WhatsApp, actually a WhatsApp, and it was an invitation from this CEO, Dr. Andrew K. And I said, I'm being invited to speak at the World Literacy Foundation. Of course, my husband said, that must be a hoax. That can't be true. And I go, well, check it out. Of course, he checked it out. And he said, looks like it's for true. It looks like a real thing. And I go, I'm going. And we went. He went with me. And it was a fantastic journey. I sent in what my topic was. And I was one of the many people who asked to present. And I was like taken back. Wow, they're going to let me, little old me, from the Cayman Islands, represent reading on the big stage in Oxford. Oh, if my daddy could see me now. But anyway, we not only get to do that, but they said to me, would you like to be an exhibitor? And I'm going, an exhibitor? He said, because we think that you have something that will help to solve the reading problem and close the literacy gap. And I said, great, I'm going for it. And I was one of 18 people chosen out of 300 people to show my stuff. Of course, it was small then, but Ms. Annell will tell you that this time it was the biggest. Yeah, it was energizing. It was electrifying.
It's grown a lot since 2018.
Much tighter is that there were so many things happening, so many speeches. There was 120 presentations, and we were a part of that.
And this is all by invitation.
Yes, and they have to actually vet you to see if what you're going to talk about will work.
So, what was the thrust of your presentation at the summit?
To talk to people about how to get illiteracy eradicated. So our topic was 1.5 billion feet to walk the road to literacy. And we spoke about the fundamentals and how we can get there with the program that we have.
So tell us a little bit about the message that you were trying to convey.
Before we do, I think Miss Annell is the one who came up with, but she has a reason how we got this 1.5 billion feet to walk the road to literacy.
So when we got the invitation last year, I was very excited because Mrs. Glidden has told me about how wonderful it was the last time they were there. And I then, when she said, okay, let's get a topic together, go. I just Googled literacy. And there was obviously a lot of information about it. And then I started looking at what literacy is and how many people are literate. And I started comparing and looked at world literacy and then realized what a massive problem it is right across the world. It's a global problem. And according to the UNESCO site, there's 754 million adults illiterate, and with that about 500 million children, which it's a massive amount of people. And that's how I got to 1.5 billion feet to walk the road to literacy, because that is what the numbers we are looking at worldwide.
You say worldwide, so most people would think that the problem is in poorer countries, but is that so?
No.
The common misconception.
Yes, because one of the things that we did was, let me first say what their main topic was. It was bridging literacy, connecting worlds, and early childhood primary literacy was the subject area. We had different selective areas of categories to speak from.
Yeah.
So we chose early childhood primary literacy. And to your question, yes, we did not choose to speak to children in poorer countries because there were many people from Africa, India. A matter of fact, we had a delegation from Barbados. The High Commissioner was there, the Oxford Lord Mayor. We had the commissioner from Barbados. We had Botswana, New Guinea, Pakistan, South Africa, Malawi. We had ambassador from Greece, Honduras, the Philippines, Zimbabwe, India. We just had a lot of people from all over the world. It was, 62 countries that were there represented. And again, I think we are, other than Barbados Commissioner, we were the only West Indian people there. Little Cayman out in, next door to heaven, as I phrase it, was the only one there. And we couldn't really talk to the subject of poverty.
No.
And because we are not a poverty-stricken place. When we listened to the libraries and the books and the donkeys and the boats and the stuff, that books were taken into different parts of Africa, we couldn't really talk to that. So we talked about being a first world country, being one in which we get everything that we need here in the Cayman Islands to make literacy work. For instance, let's say we are only 1,000 square miles. We have 130 different nationalities. We are a first world British territories and a very prosperous group of islands. 5th in the financial sector of the world. I hope that is true still. And every grade 1 student in government primary school take home a computer. Government schools use the British curriculum, and some private schools use the American curriculum. Expenditure per child in government schools is one of the highest in the world. Like the USA and the UK, we have a high percentage of our students leaving school that are not reaching the literacy expectations. And that was emphasized on stage in the auditorium. And
the Sheldonian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were talking about why is our children still failing?
Well, we'll come back and look for the answer to that right after this break.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today, and today we are hearing from the iRead for Life Center and some of the work that they're doing and about the presentation that they made at the World Literacy Summit 2025 at Oxford University. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can give us a call. This one's free, courtesy of Flow, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us at 949-6990 or WhatsApp 925-3261. So from what you were saying, your presentation was taking a tact of a problem with literacy in developed countries, people who don't really have a problem with resources, but still
Correct.
The problem exists.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's not just limited to Cayman. We hear people saying, "Oh, why? Or teachers are not good." Teachers are good. I'm going to say teachers are good. Most teachers are good, but we have to examine our delivery, what it is that we're doing to make why it is not working, and what we need to do to make it work. Because one of the things I found before we go, Miss Annell and I visited all the schools, and the principals were gracious enough to invite us into their office and talk to us. And we went to a parent-teacher meeting, and one of the things we discovered that primary school children at the kindergarten level were doing excellent, which was also reiterated at the
convention.
At the convention there, it was brought up on the big stage that children do well in kindergarten. Just exactly what we're experiencing here in Cayman. Children are doing well in kindergarten, but they get to first grade and they start to slow down. You start to see problems. Then you get to grade 2 and it gets worse. You get to grade 3 and it's not good at all. And grade 4. And by the way, if you are not doing well in grade 4, there is a huge problem, because most of your children, 1 out of 4, is that 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 kids, when you get to that level of not being able to read and write in grade 4 and master English properly, most of your people in jail, most people incarcerated are in jail, are not above grade 4 level.
So what would you say are some of the more impressive things that you took away from this summit?
I guess innovation, how people are using what they have to try and eradicate literacy. I mean, we had topics ranging from AI, post-COVID things, books, as Mrs. G said earlier, books being taken over rivers with boats, like innovation. People are really working hard.
And there was one that bedtime story, still a thing. And
yes.
What these people were doing was going to jails where so many dads are in jails, mostly dads and moms too. But they would go and record a story time. They would let them record their stories, and they would get them to the children at their home, so the kids could listen to stories being read by their dad.
Oh,
yeah, that was incredible.
That was like, oh my God, that was so nice to hear. So stuff like that.
Innovation.
To. A little young man, right. Miss Annell can tell you about him, a young guy who got an award that started libraries in South Africa.
Oh, yes.
She can tell you about that one. Yeah, he was very young. He must have been about 16 years old. Oh, wow. And his parents were helping him to achieve that. But this is something he wanted to do. And he started his first library, going in there, reading to people, storybooks of indigenous people who they're trying to teach English and letting them write their own storybooks. Those are the kinds of things that we experience.
So we don't have to ferry books across rivers, or, we have resources. People in the U.S., U.K., they have resources. So what is causing the problem?
So some of the contributing factors to a problem with literacy is digital literacy. It is becoming a problem. Information overload, especially when you look at what kids have to learn between the ages of year 1 to year 3. As Mrs. Glidden said earlier, that's where the problem comes in. The kids are being overloaded with information. Declining reading habits due to social media and communication shifts. And then from there, you get attention span and cognitive development problems, or it gets compromised. And then standardized testing. I'm not a fan. Language barriers, especially in a country like Cayman, 130 different, people are being represented on this island, and it brings with that comes big language barriers, and also misinformation and fake news has a big influence on where we're at today when it comes to illiteracy.
So kids that are introduced to social media and all the AI and the automation are just not being encouraged. They don't have an incentive.
Not even to talk. Not even to have conversation. How many people you see go to the restaurants and my God, you go there to eat and everybody's on their phones. And they're not communicating. We went to dinner one evening and we saw this couple sitting across from us. Both people are there. I mean, it's an expensive restaurant. You went there to eat. But there was no communication between these two people. They ordered their food and they look back on their phones. And children are doing the same thing. They're on their phone. They get home. I'm having trouble with kids who come to the center, can't get off the phones. They need to get off the phones. You need to take away phones from children. Why do you need phones? Why do a kid need a phone in the afternoon? I mean, yes, I will not say that the media is not good. We can listen to news. We ourselves have DVDs that we ask kids to watch. And yes, if you're monitoring what they're watching and it is educational and information, yes. But there must be time left for children to talk to each other and work with each other.
The technology is a little bit of a double-edged sword because it's a great tool for children who may really need it in terms of having disabilities.
Right.
adults as well, right? So it can be a great tool. But about 5 years ago, I think, roughly, there was a lot of memes going around on social media saying that with all the emojis, we're moving back to hieroglyphics, right? So people are not even writing, and they're, just using emojis. Just a quick little interesting story. There was a legal case the other day that, spoke to was a thumbs up an agreement to a contract.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we're seeing more of this very casual way of communicating that has infiltrated our societies. The other thing with that too is it's fascinating when you see your 6-year-old. Like, I've heard stories with my friends and they're saying, oh, the 6-year-old was, trying to spell a word and they went to their older brother, and their brother wasn't paying them any mind. And she said, Siri, tell me how to spell whatever the word was. So there's a little bit of, a smart child, a very intelligent child can take that information, and it may or may not make any difference in their life. But a child who is struggling, it can be, a blessing and a curse for them, because they're not necessarily getting the tools, the foundational tools that they may need to build that structure to be a good reader when they're heavily relying on these AI tools.
Let me get you to put on your headphones, because we do have a call. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Charlo, and good afternoon to your guest too.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead.
Yeah. What I notice about people is, especially grown-up people that don't know how to swim, and people that don't know how to read, they are ashamed to let people know that.
Yes.
That's true.
And knowing how to read is just as important as a person knowing how to swim. It's something that you need to know how to do in life. That in certain situations, it's something that you might need to know how to do in order to save your life.
Amen to that.
Because if you're traveling alone and there are certain signs in place and you don't know how to read, it could cause you to lose your life. Just for example,
or miss the train. Miss your flight or miss your train.
That's so true, caller.
Or just traveling in a foreign country and driving a car for the first time in that country.
Mm-hmm.
And a sign says a one-way street, and you turn into that road, and you have cars coming in your direction.
Correct.
Could cause you to lose your life.
That's right. That's how important reading is.
Or it can be just as simple as having to fill out a form when you're, an immigration form or something like that, and you can't do it.
We can't escape the forms nowadays.
Or if we went to the hospitals, even though we are given a tablet, we need to be able to read it, to be able to fill out to answer the questions that they're asking you.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's an auditory feature that goes along with it, but not necessarily. So you really need to read. We found that experience traveling, that getting a train and getting around, and I look at Miss Annell and I go, we still need to read. A joke on this one was we were on the train and we went into a bathroom. And this was a very new bathroom that is modern, state-of-the-art bathroom. And if you couldn't read, you couldn't flush the toilet. You had to first look at it. There was a sign.
Close the door.
But you close the door. They said, close the door. And I'm looking around. How do I close this door? You don't close the door from the door. You had to look on this wall to find whether you should push this lever to the right or push to the left. So everything, even though there were signs to tell you where it was, you had to read to be able to close the door. You had to be reading to be able to flush the toilet. And I'd go, my God, who says we don't need to learn how to read?
Yeah.
As simple as left, right, push, close. We had to read and read real fast. So yes, sir.
Carl, is there something else you wanted to add?
Yes, and also when it comes to life, mostly everything that you do in life has instructions.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very important to know how to read, that you are able to follow those instructions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for the call. You have a good afternoon. And we have another call. We have another call on the line there. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello? Good afternoon. You're on the air. Okay, we lost that call. I think it's time for a break, so let's go to that, and we'll be right back.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The 24th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Awesome performances by actress Caitlin Tyson, Erica Asai, Rico Rolando, Jade Dixon, Williams Quartet, Daquan Smith, UCCI Dance Company, Cayman Music School, Radiance Dance Studio, Centerpoint Dance Studio, John Gray Elite Strings, Lloyd Barker, Ola Jimmy LaPierre, and more. Tickets cost $15 CI prepaid and $20 at the gate, and available from the #1 shoe shop and Winners Circle Sports. Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker, June 29th at the Hawkwill Theatre. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Part proceeds from this event to benefit the Foundation Educational Development Training Program of the Arts.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today. We do have a caller on the line, so let's check in with our phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you, though.
You hear me good now?
Not really.
You hear me good now?
Barely. Yeah, are you on a speakerphone or?
Yeah, I cannot put that.
Maybe he just talk directly into his phone.
Hello? Any good now?
Not really.
Good now?
Yeah.
That's better. It's better.
Okay. I had to take that headphones out.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon. So, I was listening to the conversation on the radio, and really and truly, it's very interesting how we are finally figuring it out that this is one of our biggest issues in education with the reading, because clearly that a lot of people on the island do not know how to read, and I really understand why it would be hard to read with 100 and almost 30, if not more, different nationalities, which they have to learn how to read. But when it comes into Caymanians, it should be a priority that every student can read, at least.
Well, that's what they're supposed to go to school for, right?
Yeah, this is our main goal right here now, because we got children that are going to school and they don't even like to pay attention. Some of them, I'm not speaking about all, because we have to understand that children are still children, and really and truly, I understand that they diagnosing them with all different mental disorders now just based off of their capability of paying attention.
Well,
really, I have an advocate for mental health, and when it comes into a lot of mental health issues, focusing is one of the main thing that we should prioritize with children, making them learn how to focus properly.
Well, there's a couple of things that we're going to have to do for that. One, you're going to have to, like I said, pay attention to your kids. Kids are going home in the afternoon and parents are not talking to them. Parents are not working them. We were talking about speech, how speech, language, talking is a very important thing. If you can talk, you are actually building the ability to write. Spoken language is intertwined with reading and writing activities. And also, that is, we still have to take our children off all this fast food and sugar and drinks that they're having. Get back to our basic. Do you know that Caymanian kids don't drink coconut water? They don't know what that tastes like. We are so into sodas.
Yeah, we've been degrounded. I don't know if you understand how important it is for our children nowadays to walk bare feet in the ground, just being grounded alone.
And we have the best beaches to do that on.
That's right.
We need to take back our island, control of our education. Really and truly, I'm a strong advocate for education, because when I was in school, I was one of those I love to pay attention, but there was a lot of distractions. And the thing is about it, on this island, there's tons and tons and tons and tons of distractions.
Yep.
And they come in dollar bills. They come in incentives, like food, like what you're saying. And this is the problem that we got. We're all
so as Caymanians and local people, we need to be proud of what we have here. We need to be proud of our cocoa plum or bananas and we can't even find cocoa plum on the beaches anymore. But we need to encourage the garden shops to sell it. And we as people, we as a nation, we as a group of people have to step forward. You know something? You don't have to be able to read and write right now to give a hand, because we're going to say we can't reach to the adults. We have to focus on the younger ones.
To be very honest, let me tell you something, because out of a disadvantage, I took advantage of a time that I had lost, right? I would have probably never been able to get back. Like my daughter, for example, she was 2 years old when I lost my job. And thank God that when she was 2 years old, she didn't get to go to school, because I get to keep her into certain environments that I would have preferred her to stay out of. This is the thing. We have to teach the children how to know their family, love their family, and then better off while they're with the family, teach them how to love the animals too. When they don't know about to take care of animals, they don't know how to take care of people.
And that's correct.
When it comes into a child, it doesn't have an age limit to taking care of pets.
And all those things come into a big subject that I'll talk a little bit more about down in the program, pragmatics.
But I enjoying the conversation.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you have something else you wanted to add on?
No, I just want to continue listening. I just wanted to get that out because it's very important. Our education and learning how to read is definitely step one in learning how to count and stuff like that.
And like I say again, people out there, you don't need to have to know how to read and write to be a part of helping our children.
Right.
You can start with just home cooking, putting forks on the table, putting helping to make eggs, as simple as that.
Give them a sense of responsibility. Give them a sense of responsibility, then they'll take a time to learn.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that call. Important points.
Yeah, I'm loving these callers, and I'm particularly loving that it's men calling in and balancing out this conversation since you're a little outnumbered in the studio here. But it's great. It's great to have the supports of the dads and the men of our society.
So important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have another caller. We got about 4 minutes going up to the news time, so let's take that call real quick. Oops, we dropped that one. So, what some of your thoughts on what that caller was saying?
Gosh, like I said, I'm loving the comments, but absolutely, and the fact that it's being acknowledged. One, the first caller was talking about back to your very opening question about what's more important, and he was saying reading is basically a survival skill in life, and this caller saying that we really need to. The first thing he said was thankfully we're finally figuring out what's going on, and he touched on everything from that attention span, and we have some points that we want to make on how we're going to work on that later on, but he hit so many nails on the head just about getting back to the basics, getting our children focused, getting grounded, and a lot of that short attention span is just they're not in real life anymore.
Well, let's take one more call. Let's take another call here. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, you're on the air. Good afternoon.
I want to chime in and say a few things. I grew up in school in the 80s, okay? Mm-hmm. And it was a good time in Cayman. I enjoyed school. I enjoyed my teachers. But ever since we have changed our education curriculum from the English one to the Caribbean exams, I have noticed how our children, yes, they're graduating. There are a lot that don't have the tools when they get to where they need to be, so they have to go back and do another year or two. But the English education system was a system where it worked. And, yes, we are in the Caribbean and we need to learn Caribbean history. But when you have an education system that worked, and I'm going to call a name here, and I'm sure that the lady would not be fearful of me calling her name, Miss Joy Basdeo. I still have respect for that lady, that Caymanian lady. And it goes and it starts from at home. We have to tap into the resources that we have here also, because they are smart, very smart Caymanians who were teachers, who were educators years ago. And I remember, I grew up in the Brick, and I remember Miss Basdeo coming, and we were told when she would come. It's usually the day before we were told, our principal said, we're going to have a meeting with Miss Basdeo, all the students and all the staff. And that lady, Miss Basdeo, came, she spoke to us. We all had respect for her because respect for us was taught us at home. We were taught to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, excuse you me, and thank you. And as a child growing up in the Brick, I forgot it many times. You're outside playing and you run inside and one of your parents speaking to your aunt or one of the neighbors down the road, and your mother just stands there, your father just stands there and looks at you. And you come into the house and you don't say anything, and they just look at you and stare you down, head to toe. And you stop, and you walk out, and you come back in, and you say good afternoon.
Yes. I almost want you to say, come back on the downside, because I see that your host wants to break here. Yeah. But I want to say that's what the premier or new premier, Andrew, is been saying. And I actually was applauding when he was talking, because those are some of the things we are want to talk about on the other side, sir, after your break.
But thank you so much for your call. I have to break in here because
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Time to check in with the newsroom.
Covering Little Cayman Bragg.
Cover me.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
The National Gallery is hosting a Family Fun Day this Saturday from 10 until 1. Families are invited to explore Cayman's past, the Time Back exhibition, with more than 70 images taken by Cayman Compass journalists through the 1970s and 90s, showcasing cultural gatherings, historic buildings, familiar faces, and more. There will even be a sidewalk chalk available, along with other kids' activities. Israeli airstrikes have killed 103 people in Gaza since midnight, according to the Hamas-run Civil Defense Agency. The airstrikes came as an Israeli blockade on aid entering Gaza continues. 10 different aid agencies say the humanitarian situation is getting worse. Israel does not allow journalists to enter Gaza, so the BBC is being sent messages, voice notes, and pictures from those living there. Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, 2023, killing at least 1,200 people and taking 251 hostages. Israel's retaliatory military campaign, according to the Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza, has killed more than 52,000 people. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Following the 1932 hurricane, like most young men growing up in Cayman in that era, the call of the sea was heard more strongly than any other. Keith Tibbetts Sr. of Cayman Brac was no different. After assisting with the rebuilding of the family home, resurrecting the family car, and helping other relatives and the community rebuild, he built and sold several catboats before going to Jamaica to seek employment as a seaman, and his long distinguished career got started on September 25th, 1935, when he stepped on board the schooner Admiral Sturdy, which his father built and was later sold to the Colonel family. A year later, he joined the Canadian banana boat, Lady Somers, in Canada. During his seagoing year, he visited several ports in England and made 11 trips around the continent of Africa, including a distinguished military career. This was part 3 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbets.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your Sister Islands.
Discover all that our Sister Islands have to offer.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. I'm Charles Glidden, your guest host, and we're talking to the folks from iRead for Life Center about the importance of reading. And we have a couple of callers who've been patiently waiting, so let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
I am just happy to hear Ms. Glidden and her team on Radio Cayman today, and I am grateful for the conversation. The work that I have seen being done by the iRead for Life team, and I have seen it firsthand, is work that has made, is work that is making, and work that will make an invaluable difference to our children and our families, as well as our community at large. I do not have children, but I have assisted 4 children to attend the iRead for Life program, and each child was at a different level, from ground zero, unable to read, to being a child who had challenges reading, to being a child who was a good reader when they went into the program. But each of those children are either now reading, starting to read, or reading better.
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Great testimony. We try our best. We work hard.
You're welcome. And I hope that the government will seriously look into implementing the iRead for Life program in the government school system at all levels, and not just government, but also the private school system as well, from reception to primary through to high school. The work that has been done by the iRead for Life team, or is done by the iRead for Life team, doesn't just include literacy and math, but it also includes behavior management. And again, when I speak from the children that I have been affiliated with and I have assisted to go through this program. I can speak because I have seen the results myself. I would also like to encourage persons within the community to contribute financially to a child whose family is unable to cover the cost of the program, if you are able to. It is a sacrifice to partner with parents to pay the cost, or to take on the responsibility to pay the cost in full, but it is rewarding. And again, I speak from personal experience. I think that when you can see one of your own overcome an obstacle that can or that will prevent them from achieving the success that they could achieve, that is what you would have, or you do have an opportunity to be a part of. The children who are growing up in our community are ours. And I think this is the perfect month for Ms. Glidden and iRead for Life to be on the radio, because it is Child's Month. But we have a responsibility to our children. We have the resources to be able to do it, either individually, companies, as a group, as a community. The need is there. And if you see the need, volunteer to help or reach out to someone else to help. And I think that's just my contribution for today.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you so
Thank
very
you.
much.
Amazing. Thank you.
We have someone else on the line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Okay, Chalo, that's the topic today is, I don't know, man.
Reading for children.
I just love to hear about education, you know. When I first went to school in West Bay in 1952, I had Iris Borden, Hope Borden, Miss Genevieve.
All good teachers.
A few teachers from Jamaica. I think one of them is still alive. She just reached 100 years old, Miss Range in Northside.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember them all, you know, and math and spelling gave me a hard time in school then.
If you were at the iRead for Life Center today, we could help you.
I still struggle to life with that, but you know, it's okay.
But you just go ahead and help a little kid. When you see a little kid around you, thinking back at the days and many things that you know, the skills that you have, you can contribute that to your grandchildren or your niece, nephew, whoever that's around you, any little kid that come your way, or young man, and willing to learn some of the things that you can offer them. Talk to them. Tell them about old times. I like talking to old people. I have an old lady that is 93 years old that tells me how hard it was for her mom to get her sister. And I really want to tell this story because you can associate with this. This woman was from, she had her mother, her big sister was taking exams down in Savannah. And they had to come to Savannah to take the exams. So she had to get a pencil, and a pen was not available in those days. She did not have a pen to write the exams. So this mother walked all the way from Breakers down to Savannah to borrow a pen from the woman that she was washing her clothes and cleaning her house. And the woman lent her the pen so her daughter could take the exam. And she waited for the car that was picking up all the children and carrying them down to down to Savannah to take exams. And that's how her big sister get to sit her first exams. And this lady, I give her a lot of credit because all her children are doing well. She makes sure her grandchildren and everyone in her family value education. So yes, the old days wasn't so easy.
You need to hear a part of my story. Back in the 50s, back in 52, I never seen too many cars in Cayman in West Bay. So, you know, I went on to 1958, where I was very active in school, especially athletics. And 1958, I had a tragedy. You know, I lost a part of my body, 5 fingers off of my left hand. And you know, my mother, I guess she loved me so much that she kept me home from school for a whole year. Now, I remember that Monday that I went back to school after a year, and it was so different. It just wasn't the same. Everybody wanted to see, everybody wanted to feel. It just killed all the feelings that I had for school. And even though I didn't know, but I was starting to feel inferior at the end of that day. It was so bad. You know, I felt so bad that I didn't go back.
Oh. Well, we'll try to make it up for our new children these days.
Well, really,
the ones that have problems like that, we will try to give them the courage and the hope, which is exactly what we went to the the World Literacy Foundation, we got a lot of hope and courage to help children like you, but that, examples like that. We have children today who are still into that position, where they're bullied at school or they're turned off from school, and we are trying our best to help them.
If you would forgive me, Mommy, and give me a chance to hear my story. I'd be very short.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have other callers on the line, okay?
Yeah, but I didn't give up. At 12 years old, I went to work. And I learned to read from comic books.
Good for you.
Very good. Very good.
I challenge any university student today when it comes to reading.
Fantastic. That's good hope for children who are suffering out there.
And I learned figures from playing cards. So I don't have a problem with counting the money. I just need to get some to count.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Next time I'll share some more with you, man.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Let's take another call, and then we're going to have to hear about the NPO. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Glidden.
Good afternoon.
Family.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, all. I want to say that literacy is very, very important. You were saying whether it's most important or one of the most important things.
Yes.
I'm still. I wonder what to say about that. But I'd say it's most important too. I can give a little testimony of mine. I was having a little problem being or getting employment, and I said to myself, but I learned something back in school. I did pretty well in English. I was able to even teach people, tutor people as a tutor. And I said, all right, tell you what I'll do. I like music. I like to sing. So I recorded some songs. Then I started to sell them, and I said, well, I'll take it a step further, and I did. I also like poetry. So I wrote a few poems inspired to write a few poems. Quite a few people like them. They bought, they sell like crazy. And I'm saying to myself, no, well, I'm no longer interested in doing jobs that I just don't like. Hello?
Yeah, yes. We're here. We're listening.
I mean, I wanted to have something to do with my education, my employment. So I try to, employ myself with selling the poetry and my music, my songs. So I made a songwriter of myself and quite a few different areas of the arts. And I'm saying I'm enjoying that. That's what I enjoy doing.
On the downside of this, we're going to, if you listen in, we're going to tell you about another interesting artist who had a very bad life growing up. And he used music as his way out, and he's an advocate for literacy. So on the downside of this, we're going to tell his story. You'll enjoy that. You'll be able to associate with that, except that he was in a different world, did some other bad things.
I'm sure it'll be interesting. I'm quite sure it'll be interesting, and I'd like to hear the story. But it like you said, it can take you out of a lot of things. That little bit of education, even people who are not as literate can write songs and
art is very closely related to literacy. Very closely relationship there.
I'm going to have to break in because we have to move on. But thank you so much for the call.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know Chanda has to go in a short while. get back to work. So let's hear about some of the work of iRead for Life Cayman, the nonprofit organization partner of the iRead for Life Center.
Right. So the NPO side, we've mimicked the name iRead for Life just to keep it consistent, and we've, a tremendous amount of branding has gone into the work over the years to put the center together. So, and in that time over the years, people have wanted to volunteer, people have wanted to give scholarships, but because there was no NPO, they weren't able to do that in the most efficient way. And so we decided that we're still quite new. We're still just in our infancy, just over a year old. So a lot of that has been just trying to get everything structured in order. But our focus has been for the last several months being able just to provide one-on-one lessons for those children who are really, really needing that support. Some of them are partial scholarships, some of them are full scholarships. And as we've been able to secure that funding and help children, we're seeing more and more people wanting to participate and donate. So just to walk it back a little bit, our vision is illuminating futures through literacy. And if you've been listening to the show for a little while now, you'll have noticed that so many people have called in and talked about the importance and how literacy has changed their lives. And you'll even hear more about how literacy has changed people's lives coming up just at the summit and the examples that Mrs. Glidden is going to give you. And our mission is ensuring that resources and funding are not barriers to literacy. So when you're talking about resources, yes, we are a first world country. We have access to a lot of things. Sometimes we're using those things in the best way possible, and sometimes we're not, and sometimes we don't have it, because as much as we'd like to say that we are first world and we don't have some of the poverty issues that other jurisdictions may have, other countries may have, that we do still have people out there that don't have certain resources or don't have the ability to access that, or they're too proud to access that. So we want to make sure that especially starting at our youth, that is, not going to be an issue. You don't have to worry about how am I going to pay for this, because how are you going to pay for testing? To be able to start and know where you're beginning, what you're lacking, you need testing, you need books, you need all the materials, you need the resources. So we want to open the doors for people to be able to donate, not, just we had a caller earlier say, if you can help support a child, that doesn't mean thousands of dollars. That could be, $50 for books, $150, just, to help cover testing, to help fund a child in particular to get through that special need, that one-on-one that they need to improve. Some of the other goals that we have is being able to do a home outreach. So Mrs. Glidden has produced videos that we want to be able to get into the homes. So partnering with anyone in the community who wants to do this, any of the other charitable organizations or corporations that want to donate, to be able to put these videos, give the idea behind it is having it on DVD at the moment. We do have them on DVDs, bundling those to be able to pair it with a portable DVD player, put them in the homes where people don't have any excuse to say that I don't have a device to watch it on, and we can reach, say, if there's a family of 5 and they have 3 kids and mom and dad is there. We heard earlier that there's a certain amount of adults that also are illiterate or just functionally literate. So as they're watching this with their kids in a home setting, dad and mom don't have to say, hey, I've struggled with reading. They can also benefit from seeing these videos and learning more from it while their children are also benefiting from it. So for the families who might not have all of the resources, might not be able to afford the tutoring, this is an easy win for us to be able to get in there. So we're going to be working also with schools, churches, PTAs. If you know families that need this support, need these resources, then we're happy to work with you. We do need some funding. I'm not not too shy to beg for the money. So contact us if you want to contribute to those things. The other 2, there's about 3 main points I want to hit on really quickly. We don't want to forget about the adults. So even though, and Mrs. Glidden will explain her program a little bit more, it's mainly geared towards children. We're not saying that it can't be used for adults. So I've been in contact with the prisons, and we want to also work with those people in our society who want to be rehabilitated, who want to come back out and into society, but they're struggling, and literacy might be a big part of their issue. We want to make sure that they're prepared. So we want to work with the prisons to do an outreach there to be able to make sure that people coming back into our society are well equipped and, again, are not having any barriers to the resources for literacy. And we also want, at some point, to develop a training for teachers, because it's well and good that a few of us know how to use this program or that we have resources that can teach the program. But we need teachers, we need educators, we need tutors, we need people who can teach this program so that we have that ripple effect going forward. Finally, and this is probably the thing I'm most excited about, is we're working with the center to develop an app. And the goal of that app is to be able to give access to that to every child for free. So again, take some funding. So we want to partner to be able to get that subscription for the app once it's up and running into the hands of every child. So again, there is no barrier to be able to learn. And we have to work with children at where they're at, where their attention spans are at. Yeah. And that is on their phones, on their tablets, and creating games and using the program in a way that's going to work for these kids in the best way possible. Mm-hmm. So I'll just close out. I know we might be going to, I don't know how much time I have left.
You got about 4 minutes.
All right, perfect. So the last couple of things I want to say is, a big thank you to the entities that have already supported us. The persons and entities are supporters and donors. Just to name a few, Mrs. Annie Mullen, who has been a great supporter of us over the time. The Minister of Youth, Sports and Heritage, Mr. Isaac Rankin, he was Minister of that. The former Minister, Mr. Seymour of Border Control, Labour and Culture. So they have all contributed. And I want to give also a very special shout out to the work compliance team. We all love a good story, so it's a little small story. They used their bonus that government gave. They contributed portions. They did a challenge. So big shout out to Mr. Mervyn Manderson and his team, and Shira Goff, who orchestrated this. But they had a charity raffle, basically, and they said they wanted to give back. They challenged the team to raise some funds towards putting for a charity. Thankfully, ours was the one that was picked. So they came in, spoke with us, learned more about the program. So it's just, again, that community at heart. And we're a big family here. You throw a stone, we're all related at some point or another. So, and that ties into the last thing I want to say. Just introducing our board here as well. So there's myself, Miss Cora Smith as our treasurer, Miss Maria Faircloth as secretary, Jaheim Glidden, welcome, that's my son, as director. And yes, for those of you thinking it's a little bit incestuous, we are family. This community is a family. My mom has developed this program. It's been in my family for years. I have grown up with children, at our kitchen table in our homes from the 90s, and watched those children develop by using this program. So I wholeheartedly believe it. My son was raised on this program. My nephew was raised on this program. I was raised on this program. I've seen it help so many kids. And I think that we have a tremendous opportunity to be at the forefront of literacy and be a world player.
Yes.
So if someone wants to make a contribution, how should they go about doing that?
So you can email us, npo@ireadforlife.ky. Mm-hmm. That's the best way if you want to get in touch with us. Or you can call the center.
And do people who would want some assistance, do they go through the center? Do they come directly to you? How does that work?
So it's going to go through the center, and then we take the recommendations in the center, because the testing and the needs assessment of what that person would need, that's where we would have that recommendation come from the center in order to understand what the need is, what funds we have to be able to allocate to that.
You wanted to say something? You'll always want to say
something. I have so much to say, and now I can't even remember what that one was. But yes, the center, the people that work and the children that come to iRead for Life Center, we actually refer to ourselves as the family. We're one big family. We fuss together, we cry together, we laugh together, we have tea. One of the biggest parts at the center is we have tea time. When the kid comes in all sad, crying, all ruffled, we will just say, do you want a cup of tea? And we'll have a cup of tea ready for them. As a matter of fact, they love Earl Grey. That's what we drink there. And so, yes.
Magic tea.
The magic tea. We get so much kids learn from just having a cup of tea. After all, we don't have to force them to learn so hard. We can have a little fun sometimes. So we try to make it fun there. And yes, if you can give the NPO, which we keep it all very legal and helpful, we're asking you to contribute because there are a lot of parents out there. And Ms. Glidden just said there are proud parents. Sometimes you don't want to get the help. But I'm asking you, don't be so proud. We're not going to tell anybody or hold it against you. Come for the help, and if you can contribute, if you have a $50, like she said, or $100, give it to the NPO. They monitor it, and we have to prove to them that somebody needs the help, and that's exactly what we do.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and saying that I'm not being too proud to beg. So if you're a parent out there that needs help, get it, because if you don't take it, somebody else is gonna take it. And as Caymanian people, we need to just make sure that we are putting ourselves in the best situation possible to be able to prepare for our future.
Okay. Well, it's, 1:31. I think you have to get back to work.
I do. Thank you so much.
Annell, you're going to be leaving us also?
Yes, I will. I
All
also
right.
have to go back to work.
Yeah, your boss is here.
My boss is here, so I have to get back.
Well, I feel lonely now. They're leaving it all to me.
Luckily, she knows where I'm at, where I am, so it's okay.
All right. Well, thanks for being a part of this discussion. And we're going to take a break, but we'll be right back and with more discussion about reading.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skincare, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Attention Boddentown residents. The Department of Environmental Health Boddentown Bulk Waste Collection will take place between May 19th to 24th. This bulk waste collection will replace the traditional year-end collection. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it's easily accessible to the DEH's collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials, or electronics. For more information on the Boddentown Bulk Waste Collection from May 19th to 24th, please contact the DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
Got Tampa on your mind? Well, Cayman Airways has your discounted ticket to fly away this June to Tampa. Tampa airfares are now on sale from just $332 round trip, including taxes and fees. But hurry, this sale ends Saturday, May 17th. Book on CaymanAirways.com, contact a travel agent, or call Cayman Airways Reservations on 949-2311.
Attention all residents of East End and surrounding areas. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman PACE Committee invites you to their health educational evening on Wednesday, May 22 at the East End United Church starting at 6:30 p.m. Guest speakers are Dr. David and Dr. Mabeen from Grand Harbor Medical, who will be discussing colon and prostate cancer diagnosis, treatment, and prevention, and Dr. Sydney Ebanks, who will speak about hypertension and diabetes. Men, come on out to get your PSA done for free. Remember, early detection saves lives. Refreshments will be served.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today. Well, Annell's boss gave her permission to stay.
I'm still here.
Yes, she needs to help us tell the stories.
Yeah, so she's still here with us. Now, at this the literacy summit at Oxford, I know you got some inspiration, and country music lovers would probably know the name Jelly Roll. And tell us about what happened with Jelly Roll at the summit.
So it was actually quite interesting. On the Monday, on the inauguration of the whole thing, we were all sitting in the Sheldonian, and all these little rumors started running around that Jelly Roll was going to come and speak the next day. And for those who don't know who Jelly Roll is, he's an American country/rap artist. So he's got a very unique style of singing, but he's got some incredible music out there. And none of us could find it on the program. And then eventually through the afternoon, I think around 3 o'clock, we're like, okay, he's definitely coming. So a bunch of nerds were quite a buzz for Jelly Roll to come and talk to us. I was very excited for it as well, because I've been following some of his stories. And the reason why an American rap country singer came to the World Literacy Foundation is that he is a very big ambassador for literacy, saying that is what saved his life, is the fact that he became literate. He grew up in a very, very rough environment and was in and out of jail. I think, if I remember correctly, he was arrested something like 63 times before the age of 20 or 23.
Yeah, he was 17 or 16 when he was first arrested.
Yeah, so very, very rough life. And then he found out that he was going to have a little girl, and he thought, how am I going to change my life to make sure she doesn't have the life he had? And the first step he took was to educate himself, to get his to get his high school degree, diploma, and then from there on, music saved his life. He writes his own songs, and
he got that degree in prison, right?
Yes. So he did his high school diploma in prison, which was incredible.
Great story.
Great story. What an inspirational human to sit in front of you. He's positive, and he speaks with no shame about the road he's had to walk to get where he is today.
all the prisoners were like, they would not dare to go and do their GED.
And now
he just got up one and looked at them, and they look at him, are you really going to go do it?
Yeah.
And he says, yes. He just looked back at them and kept walking.
And he just did it. And he pushed through. So, and I think it was, I can't remember what it was, but he had to take like four or five flights were cancelled.
Yes,
coming to Oxford, and he eventually had to get there by private jet. Didn't ask anybody for any money, and he got there that morning at 6, and he was speaking at 3. Got to London at 6 that morning, so with very little sleep and many hours of traveling. I think by that point, like 3 or 4 days traveling up and down in the States to get a flight out. He took photos with everybody. He told us a story, along with Sheriff Christopher Swanson. I think Mrs. G would like to talk to him about him a little bit later.
Yeah.
But just Jelly Roll, to his own surprise, got the World Literacy Ambassadors Award from presented by by Andrew Kay and Dr. Don Green, which was also incredible. That was a massive surprise to him.
Yeah, and don't forget now, he's deputy sheriff. He's not just a singer, but he
was deputized.
Yes, Sheriff Chris Swanson deputized him. He's now deputy. Jelly Roll.
Deputy Jelly Roll. Yeah, so an inspiration, and working relentlessly to get to help people, to inspire people to do their GEDs.
But there is a direct correlation between illiteracy and encounters with the police.
Yes.
Yes, a very high one.
Very high one.
But talk about that for a bit, please.
I don't have the figure of exactly what number. I can't recall exactly, but I guess we could Google that. But Sheriff Chris Swanson, he developed this. Do you recall that film, Flint, Michigan? When there was a big riot there, and the people walk up, and he said, he look at his men and he go, they're outnumbering us. We can't go out there and fight. We need to stop this. And he put down his guns, and he took off his hat, and he walked straight up in front of the angry crowd. And he said, what can I do for you? And they say, walk with us. And he walked with them. And that was the beginning of changing the whole program and helping people that were incarcerated. Yeah. They came up with the program, Ignite program, that he developed. And it means eliminating generations of incarceration through education by restoring value, hope, and a purpose to our incarcerated population. And that, to me, was like, it was very powerful, what they have been doing. They joined up with the World Literacy Foundation. They are going into prisons, and a large number of these prisoners now, instead of coming out and not being useful in our society, is now being very useful to society. And they're happy. That area, that little place, Flint, Michigan, is on fire. People are getting GEDs in school. They're learning to become musician. Jelly Roll goes out there and they build a studio. And so young men who are interested into music, which is what I was telling to one of our callers that downside we would talk about it. Music was this guy's savior. When he would be angry, he couldn't do things. He was odd in his family growing up. So his mom would say to him, go write me a song. And his people were all into music, all the family, even though they were in drugs and all kinds of bad things. They were into music. And music was something that he could retrieve to go to his bedroom and write a song.
Yeah.
And that was why he said that he was interested. Music was his savior, and literacy was the other one.
We do have a caller, so let's check in with the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Good afternoon, sir. could you please ask the ladies there?
She's listening. She can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, how can I help?
I would like if you could provide me with a telephone number so I could know where to get more information on donating, but not a computer stuff, telephone number.
All right, I'm going to give you 925-0701, and you'll get me.
92505?
925-0701.
01. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But thanks for the call. Now, you're trying to do something to try and get this Ignite program in Cayman?
I would hope that we could bring it through the NPO. She was saying that she was in touch with the prisons. I don't know what is out there. I'm not really up on it, but something we're working on. I am really a person that wants to make a difference. I am very excited. I am very pro-education, and I would like to see changes. I'll give you an experience. I was in West Bay many years ago, and I went into a classroom many years ago, many years ago, in the 80s, late 80s. And I walked into a grade 2 classroom, and I said, how many children are in jail? And I was, fathers are in jail. And when I look at the little hands, it was a grade 2, and the little hands, more than half the class, hands went up. That's how many little boys and girls whose dads were in jail. And my heart bled. And when I heard about the Ignite program, I walked over to one of the sheriff's wife, and I said, please give this card to Chris for me. Tell him I want to talk to him. I want to do something. I have to go through the NPO, and hopefully I will have to do a lot of background, because I know there are a lot of people. Linda McFeel was one of those people that did a lot of work at the prisons. I am not a person that have done any work in the prisons, but I can't go out in the dark saying that we don't know there's a lot of dads and moms that need help, that cannot read, because majority of the people in prison are lacking in education or hope or a purpose or something. And that's what we need to do to change our Caymanian men and women from going to jail. And when they go to jail, that's not the end of the world. They need to be given a chance. They need to be able to come back and fit into society. Nobody wants to hire a criminal. No one want to hire a drug person or we put all kind of bad things to these people, but we need to save them. They have little children. We need to, from making tapes for them to read bedtime stories to their children, to helping them to have hope and a purpose in our society.
Redemption is nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just want to come back to the Ignite program. What makes this different than any other GED program that is in prison systems is that they celebrate the prisoners. They celebrate them. They have actual graduations for them.
That's right.
With graduation caps. And so it's not just you get your GED and you leave. You get it, you work hard, and there are people helping you with milestones. There are people celebrating you, making you feel human again.
The whole
and I think
symbolism of achievement.
Yes, and I think that is important, because we take away from these people that they're just human, right? And with this program, people are you are allowed to be celebrated and
become a useful person in society again.
So it's incredible. Yeah. It's so exciting.
Do we have a break here? But we do have a break. So let's take that break, and we'll be right back.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Cayman Art Week is back from Tuesday the 20th to Sunday the 25th of May. It's a fun-filled program of art events, pop-up exhibitions, open studios, and late opening hours at galleries and venues across all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit at your own pace or join one of our district bus tours with a new route added this year in Cayman Brac. All events are free and open to the public with art on sale for every budget. For all the latest, visit CaymanArtWeek.com.
Got Tampa on your mind? Well, Cayman Airways has your discounted ticket to fly away this June to Tampa. Tampa airfares are now on sale from just $332 round trip, including taxes and fees. But hurry, this sale ends this Saturday, 17th of May. Book on CaymanAirways.com, contact a travel agent, or Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back to Talk Today, and we're hearing from the iRead for Life Center. Now, the method that is used to teach reading at the iRead for Life Center, you branded it the Grassroots Phonics and Grammar method. How does that method that you use different from other programs? What differentiates you, distinguishes the grassroots method?
Well, our grassroots phonics and grammar workbooks are loaded with comprehension, which focus on certain speech sounds, and each time, and covers grammar, figure of speech, modern communication, and a unique method for addressing auditory conceptualization. A healthy discussion of subject is encouraged before writing stories. So, okay, now you ask me how it differs. We also, you remember we were talking about people today are going to emojis and we're looking at pictures and stuff like that. Way back in the days, I realized that, yes, in my days it was you turn a page and you say, picture or no picture. That was a game that we played. Picture or no picture. And you had to guess whether, when you turned the page, if there was going to be a picture in the book. Me coming from all this old school stuff, realized that children need to read and write. And I was never a good speller. I had one of the hardest times spelling. Embarrassed by my 3rd grade teacher, skipping 3 grades because auditorily and mentally I was a pretty bright kid. But spelling, oh my God, that gave me a hard time. It still does, but not half as bad because iRead for Life has helped me. So I want to say I developed this program for myself and for the embarrassment that I suffered from my grade 3 teacher who says, Vinette, your spelling is atrocious. When she said that, my book was marked from cover to cover, or that page, it felt like cover to cover to me, was red ink. And I was so embarrassed. I was so sad. So all my life I've spent with this idea that I'm going to develop a program that is going to help children to read and write. I couldn't really, my sister who was so good at big words, I wanted to have big words too. So I'd walk down the street with a dictionary, But for my life, I could not figure out how that word is supposed to be pronounced. And I struggled. And yes, I have a master's, 2 masters at that. But when I went to college, I took speed reading to see if I could even read faster. But it's not until I went to Florida State University that I discovered that the speech and language pathologist had the key to decoding. They knew about the ITP letters, symbols, the symbols that were associated with the sound. And then I was teaching in West Bay School, and I was teaching speech. So I would get these kids, and I started to make the correlation between the child cannot talk, cannot make the sound, and the child cannot read. Because if you can't make the sound, and you can't have the picture of the sounds, and you can't understand how they work, especially if you're dyslexic, you're going to confuse all these sounds. So what I started to do was decide what letter symbols work together, what ones are going to make certain sounds, and I made a picture frame to fool the child that this is just a picture, just like a cat. If you see the picture of a cat and you see all these letter symbols, the cat is going to say meow, and these letter symbols are going to say s. That might be a C with an E, a C with an I, a C with a Y. But you're going to learn it from early. Don't wait until the child gets to grade 3. Then you're going to talk about soft sound and hard sound. And pretty much like, I was on stage, by the way, with Jolly Phonics. Jolly, good old Christopher Jolly, and the Jolly who produced the Jolly Phonics. And he asked the same question, how is your program different from mine? I said, turned to him and I said, yours is in piecemeal. You wait, you give the kids ABC down at the beginning. Remember me talking earlier on this program that the child, or it's grade 1, it's kindergarten that it's missing. We break up what the child needs to know and give them it in piecemeal, but yet grade 3, we are asking them to read. Have anybody out there seen the reading that the teacher sent home for comprehension for a grade 2 or a grade 3? That the font is small, first of all, and the questions they're asking them, and these kids are in grade 1, they haven't even learned yet what does DGE make at the end of a word. They come home with a lot of words, but they don't know. It's not organized for them. And we wait in piecemeal again. We give them at grade 4 certain phonics. We need to give them all in a big picture way up front. Expose them to it over and over and over. Repetition, repetition. And be consistent in our presentation. And in a happy way, in a jolly way, so that they love to do flashcards. When we do flashcards at the center, they walk in and they're ready. After a week or 2 weeks there, they're opening their books. We're ready to write. Yeah. And they'll ask you, can you do flashcards with us? Because it is fun. And I will tell you, I had 2 kids. One of the kids was a very good reader. They could break the code. That child broke the code, and boy, she can figure out any word. But her little sister couldn't for the life of her. And after being in the program for between September and December, I was wondering if I was testing the same child. Was this the same kid that came through my door? She had figured it out. She just needed the help for us to sort for her. And she got it.
She needed that key.
She just needed the key.
So that key that you're talking about is, the emphasis is on knowing the sound that the symbol represents.
Exactly.
Rather than the name of the sound.
Exactly. Instead of teaching ABC, because you're going to say DGE. So they're going to have the reference to the name of the letters. So instead of reinforcing the names of the letters kindergarten, we need to reinforce the sounds that are associated with the letter symbols. And that came about while I was in West Bay, when teachers would send kids to me for speech. and language, I started telling stories and making up pictures and drawing a picture frame and putting these symbols in there. And that's how that all began.
So the repetition that you're talking about, that's you just drill them every day?
Yes, for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes we'll do all 44 sounds. And we will tell you, we break it down and saying we have 44 English sounds. It's a therapeutic approach because we are doing clean sounds. We're not doing sa for s. We're not doing ka. That's 2 sounds. We're doing k. And if we are going to talk about A has 4 sounds. If you're going to talk about Y has 4 sounds.
A has 4 sounds?
Well, A will have sound in all. A will have sound in path. That's a different sound that it's going to make in that. There's a different sound it's going to make in ask. There's a different sound it's going to make in the word water. So you have to teach that child the auditory training to hear these sounds and know when they are paired.
Okay, take me into the news with Y.
Why?
Master of disguise.
Let her tell you about why.
Why is the master of disguise? He makes 4 sounds. E as in the word gym. E as in at the end of the word of happy. I as in my, and the sound ye as in yes. 4 sounds.
And not ya, as most children will tell you.
It's 2:00. That's news time.
Yesterday,
Today,
always and forever.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. The Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability's Residential and Public Sector Building Energy Efficiency Program has been named Best Energy Efficiency Project by the Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum at its recent conference in Miami. CREF is the Caribbean's largest energy industry network, and its annual awards celebrate excellence in projects, programs, and individuals advancing the region's clean energy transition. In international headlines, a Wisconsin judge pleaded not guilty today to charges accusing her of helping a man who is illegally in the U.S. evade U.S. immigration authorities seeking to arrest him in her courthouse. Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan entered the plea during a brief arraignment in federal court. Her trial is scheduled to begin on the 21st of July. The United Nations humanitarian chief has defended using the term genocide to describe what aid workers are trying to prevent in Gaza, saying the world should not make the same mistake seen in past violations of international law when it wasn't called out soon enough. Tom Fletcher, in an interview with the Associated Press, said his forceful speech this week to the UN Security Council was meant to highlight what he views as the eroding of a rules-based order in Israel's bombardment of Gaza. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman Talk Today continues.
Welcome back. And we're talking with people from the iRead for Life Center. We have Vinette Glidden and Annell Smith here with me. And you wanted to tell a little story.
Yes, it's a day of stories. And we want, listen, folks out there, call us. We want to hear all those good stories about reading so we can motivate each other about reading. So I'm going to give you one about Dr. Don Green. Has so many. He is the president of the World Literacy Foundation. He's the president of a university in Georgia. He has one in several universities he has been affiliated with. You can Google him, Dr. Don Green. He told a story of himself, and I was so impressed with it towards the end. He said his father was abandoned. His mother died when he was 10 years old. This is about his father. And his grandfather abandoned him, and he grew up among wild goats. And when he met his mother, his wife now, she taught him how to read. But none of them are educated. So this young man is the first of his family, first person in his family to have a degree. He not just have a degree, but my God, he is the president of the World Literacy Foundation that is helping to bring literacy to the world, to children who need to be able to read and write. So I thought that was a great story.
You receive children at the iRead for Life Center from schools throughout Grand Cayman.
Yes.
What are you seeing in the children that come to you?
Writing was one of the big tasks, and I think it goes back to the fact that we're taking out writing out of the school books, real books. And yes, I have real books. I've written 10 books. First, I had 5 that was only used at the center, and DVDs to go with it, flashcards to go with it, games to go with it. But as you know, modern technology is taking over, and the way of life is changing. And I felt that the books I wrote before were only designed for the center. Today, they're designed for the classroom. They will, every so often, we have 10 checkpoints into the books. Let's see, 2 for every class. And there are checkpoints to see if the child got the concept of different things. Like before, you heard me say that it covers grammar, it covers auditory conceptualization, it's big on comprehension. That's a big problem out there. A lot of the phone calls I've got recently saying, my child can read, but they're not comprehending. That is something, again, that has to do from way back, following 2 and 3 part command. Do this, do that. They're not good listeners. They're not listening. Again, we are saying to parents, you can help at home. You can have your child listen to you. Don't talk so much. Give 1, 2 orders. Go and get me the knife and fork and let us put it on the table. 2 for daddy, 2 for mommy. A knife and a fork for you, a knife and a fork for you, matching 1 to 1. You can go and get 2 eggs. Bring it for me. Trust your kid, even if it drop on the floor. Next time they won't drop it. Help them, to have chores, like we were talking when we came on. These are things like we have to build in children listening skill, rather than saying your child is ADD. A lot of the ADD, I love ADD. I'm ADD myself. My God, I am all over the place. I can't even finish a sentence sometimes. But that's because an ADD mind is going to grow up to be a person that is going to be multitasking and doing a lot of things. You just have to train the little minds when they're small. Because remember, a good foundation, if you don't have a good foundation, you're not going to have a strong house. You're not going to have a strong building. So same thing remains in reading and writing and in schools and learning. You need to put that early foundation in order to have a good structure.
Oh, you've got to.
We have a caller. Yes, on with the headphones. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon there. to the family. The whole family is there. Eh?
Yes.
That's great. Wonderful to hear you on there, Vinette, with Chalo, and it's so very, very important. I can't add much to what was already said. But reading, you learn to read, and you read to learn.
That's right.
That is how I managed. I never did get the chance to go to university. I wanted to, but I didn't. And of course, I was going to do more or less an engineering thing. But you can't, as you see, as someone had said earlier on, that's the basic building blocks. Everything, reading, it's the most important thing. You have to learn to read, if not totally properly, but to an adequate sort of, that gives you an ability to grasp other things that may be more in line with what you want to do. But you have to learn to read. And the writing, as you're saying, that's coming out. And you mentioned something earlier on that's a pet peeve of mine. It causes me sometimes to be so angry I just walk away. This incessant cell phone use, this thing with people sitting at the table eating, husband, wife, children with them, whole families, friends get together, and there are 20 of them sitting at a table, or 15 at a big, and they're all on their cell phones, tick, 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 tack, 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 tick, tick. This is all it is, no conversation. How in the world do you expect children to learn?
Exactly.
Without conversation, there has to be.
Again, we said that spoken language is intertwined with reading and writing activities.
Right. That's right. There are some languages that are not, but by being spoken, and those who are doing languages as they're saying, they are able to communicate with those people and put it into a written form. A lot of the writing in the U.S.
Exactly.
Put it into a written form, and they're no those.
You can't write. This is what Mr. Glidden just asked me.
Thing is right.
What do I see? Writing is a problem because they're not talking enough. They're not communicating enough. And so writing becomes a problem in composing a story.
Absolutely right. They can't.
Something else that you're talking about that we have when we talk to each other is something I touched on earlier about pragmatics. If we are not talking to pragmatics, is actually a big area that we are having trouble with. Being able to act appropriately, work in groups, right? We have a thing at the centers that says sharing is caring. Our premier, again, I go back how important that was to say hello, excuse me. Those are simple things about pragmatics, all right? Understanding each other, respecting each other are just requirements that we do at the iRead for Life Center. We have to teach value. We have to teach the appropriateness, the appreciation for learning, and the will to learn.
That is, you said a mouthful there, the appreciation for learning. That is something that has to be made paramount in our school system. And the government should be very interested, any government, this one before, ones to come, whatever, in including your system there in the schools. It's so very important. We have to get this idea of cell phone usage, and I'm sure this education minister knows a lot. So we'll try and get that out of them. You're not going to have a cell phone while you're in school.
100% agreement with you.
You don't want that. We never needed that just 30 years ago.
You don't
There are places that they are taking cell phones out of the schools. You can't have it in a classroom.
No, I don't have it when the kids come to my center. Turn your phone off, put them away. Don't even carry them up to the center.
Yes,
because
that's
if you need to contact your mother, we'll contact your mother for
You
you.
contact her. Right? You come to school. You don't need your
Or
mother
your dad.
anymore.
Can't
You
leave dads
come
out.
to school. You need your mother after you leave school. When you're in school, it was the same time system. We can't run any much faster than we could run then, or talk or work. It's just astounding to me why we have this absolute dependence on a cell phone and this instant information thing, and sometimes it's all wrong. The information is wrong.
That's an old subject by itself.
Jump onto that, and then you're gone on a totally different road from the road you should have taken at the crossroad. With that instant information, then you have to turn back.
You know something, Mr. Earlston? At the World Literacy Foundation, there was a big about a 30 minutes or a good long talk about AI, and one of the things that we made clear with AI was that AI don't always give you the right information. Teachers are getting that they don't want AI in their classroom because children are not thinking. Critical thinking is dying because of AI. They can't write letters. They can't write a simple resume. They're not reading enough to write any information. So if you don't read, you don't have anything to talk about. And then AI is not telling the truth. We can't.
I'll tell you something with that. You're absolutely right. I've said it before, but people have to understand we created these forms for a machine. A computer is it's a mathematical machine, and we have built a language, COBOL, that can change these mathematical equations into the proper words that the average person can understand it without doing a course in algebra and advanced algebra and so forth. That it's just a machine. We gave it names like user-friendly. We gave names like mouse and things to it. And a virus. How in the world can a machine have a virus? We give these humans...
We need some antibiotic for the machine.
We think it's a human. The AI, artificial intelligence. It's not. It's just a very fast computer. That's all it is. Very, very super fast. But they won't tell you that. If you say intelligence, then it's more human-like, which is rubbish. And this is the thing, and people gobble it up because these people are making billions of dollars out of promoting computer usage and so forth. But the reality is we are humans. We are the same people we were 1,000 years ago, just more advanced and same learning and putting things into proper perspective. We are advanced ourselves with machinery that we can be more comfortable in life. But we still move at the same pace. We still have to think more or less at the same pace and learn. And the learning process is there from those who have read something and can teach us. And this is what we need. Believe me, to get back to the basics, as someone said here, reading, writing, arithmetic. It sounds very simple, but that's about the basics, and this reading thing is so important. I congratulate you all and highly, highly appreciate what you're doing. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
As always, thank you for the call.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
He can sometimes bring it right down to the basics.
He does.
The common denominator.
He does.
Now, you have worked in Cayman school system. You were principal of Lighthouse School at one point.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned a while ago how you have met with principals recently.
Yes.
We have a new government that has put education at the very top of their priorities.
And I'd love to.
So if the minister was to ask you for some advice,
I would love that.
What
It would take a whole day, Mr. Glidden.
If the Minister for Education was to ask you for some advice, what would you say to him?
let me introduce you to my program, because what I've said today is just really skimming it. There's a lot more depth to it. And I would love to share these ideas with the government. But before we get into that, let me thank the previous government for giving us funding to make our journey to Oxford possible. We went there 2017 on our own pocket. And this time, the education department was so kind enough to acknowledge us and help us to get there by giving us some funds.
The ministry.
So many thanks.
The Ministry of Education.
The Ministry of Education. So very much thanks to the minister.
So what advice would you give now?
Like I say, we would have to sit down and look at this program, and I think it works. So many people. We have a lot of testimonial. We have so many lawyers, businessmen that are now today, because this is going on from 1986 when I first came up with the idea.
This was before the center actually opened.
Right. Before the center opened, I used to just write it in books, working with children one-on-one, because teachers would come and say to me, I know, Mrs. Glidden, you can make this child read and
That's
talk.
from the days where Chanda was saying that she remembers children at the kitchen table.
At the kitchen table, yes. They would come. I wouldn't go looking for anybody. They would come to my door and say, take this one and help this one. And yes, I couldn't turn a kid back. I still can't turn a kid back. Someone comes to me and say, I need help. I'm going to find a way to help you, because I'm pro-education. I'm an advocate for reading.
What would you like to see change? What would you like to see happening?
I would like to address I really would like to address kindergarten. I would like this program to be in the schools. I really would. It is my greatest desire. It really made me feel humble to hear parents and people calling in to say, yes, that program works for my child, or work for a couple of kids that I have helped. And yes, I would like to see it at the base, because that's where I think the problem is at the kindergarten level. If we can put it in at the kindergarten in year 1 and year 2, we can make a difference. We can actually be the example for the world. We can go way back to the next 2 years to the World Literacy Foundation and saying Cayman has eliminated the illiteracy problem by so much percent, rather than saying there's 60% of our kids leaving high school. This is not new. This is over many years. When we opened in Georgetown, there was a big 50%, because Woody Foster said he was bringing in help. And yes, his program have helped. But we're still having problem with 50% of our children leaving school. And over that, not reaching the level of literacy expectation. And that can't continue. We're too small, and we have the answer. If this gentleman all the way in Australia said my program is good enough, I would love to have the Minister of Education. Are you listening, sir? I'd love you to give me a chance. We have given all these other reading programs a chance all over the world. If we turn ourselves into our own people, we've got the educated teachers, we've got the educated people, and I would like to join forces with you. Please join with me, and we can do something about this problem. Yes, I guess you will always be voted in if you do this. But I'm excited. I came back motivated and would like to. Yes, I'd like him to call me, and I'd like the premier to call me. I would love to share what I have and give me a chance to see if it works.
Now, when should a parent seek help for their child as far as reading is concerned?
Well, we have so many tests right now.
What are the signs that...
Do you know speech? Speech is one of the things. If a child can't speak, if a child can't make the sounds, you're starting to see trouble there. Articulation is a big signal.
Because they're not going to get the connection.
That's right. And like I say, right now, it's not the parents saying that it's a school that we need to the method that we're using. This is not a program, just a program. It's a method of teaching. And it's very therapeutic. Like it go back to to what I was saying, that I couldn't spell. And I discovered how we could make a difference. This program is work on the process that I myself couldn't spell. And I am a better writer, I'm a better speaker, I'm a better, my vocabulary is bigger, I don't have a problem spelling that much. Of course.
Your own program helped you?
My own program helped me. And I joke around and I say, I wrote the program for myself.
We do have a caller, so let's go to the phone line. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Talk Today.
Yes, good afternoon. And good afternoon to your panel.
Good afternoon.
I've been listening off and on as I traverse my car. And what hit me the hardest was when you were talking about the cell phones and the reading part. I work with education department. I've been a warden now going on to must have about 17 years now. And I always tell my children on the bus, you all need to read more often than what I see you all doing, because sometimes they want to come on there, play with their phones and stuff like that. So you might find one or two out of 20, 30 children has a book from the library, and they're trying to read while they're on the bus, and the other kids are sort of disturbing them, and you have to ask for quietness so that child is trying to read that book, can understand what he's trying or she trying to read. So the cell phone, I am not for the cell phones at all, especially on the school bus. I know we need to fight harder in our schools in regards to these cell phones as well as on the school buses. And my bus, no one is allowed to use their phone on my bus. They either have to put them in their pockets or put them in their school bags. And if they're caught using their phone, they're warned about using their phone. And sometimes they'll behave and then again they get a little chance to sneak it out. And I got eyes of a hawk, so when I see that head is holding down too long in that seat, I just take a little grand walk to where they're sitting. If someone doesn't touch them to make them know that I'm coming because they're on their phone. But the phone is a distraction to our children today in society, all over the world. I feel like it looks like Cayman got a bigger problem with cell phones, because the smallest child is coming to school has a cell phone. They're around the dining room table, they're buzzing their cell phone or their tablets, and there's no togetherness, no communication with each other.
Exactly.
And I got 3 grandchildren, and when they come to visit, I tell them, you all need to focus on your food while you're eating. There's been no cell phones, no games, or no TV. Focus on the food, and after you eat the food, your food is digested properly, then you can go back there again. But you need, because the kids are eating but not chewing properly, and they're not digesting the food properly, just cutting and swallowing, and their minds are into the TV or the tablet or the phone or whatever it may be. So the food is not nourishing the body to a degree. But that's my opinion. I could be wrong,
No, you're right, ma'am, because, even digestion, you need to be able to eat and chew properly. So you're right. You're saving your grandchildren bad stomach, as we would say in the West Indies.
I agree with you 100%. That's the exact word, bad stomach. And I keep telling, I got a little 10-year-old grandson and 2 6s, And I say to the grandson sometime, let's go and read, or let's do something.
Fantastic. Very good. Very good.
And you know what he tells me, miss? He said, Granny, school is for learning and home is for playing. I'm like, where did you get that from? So the little girl now, when she comes, she wants to draw houses and she wants to draw the dogs and the cats.
And all that is good, too.
She likes to call herself writing,
Yes.
so she's writing with a pen. You don't know what it is. She's right.
Yeah, but she's been introduced to it. Good.
Yeah, she'll come and say, see, Granny, I write you a letter.
Very good.
Whoa, And me, as a child coming up, I run from the books, especially when it comes to reading. But today, at my age as an old woman, I enjoy reading.
Nice.
And the more you read, the more experience you get.
True.
From people's
Very
stories.
true.
And reading is very, very important. I didn't realize it when I was in school and come out of school, but as I get older now, that I'm getting different books to read, it feels good to know you can go and open a book and, practically every word that's in that chapter, that when you're reading it, you might come across one or two you might stumble on, but you made sense out of the paragraph or the sentence or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
But what you're saying is true, and I just wish and hope that the government will look into what you're doing and get back into the school more strongly with our children, especially when it comes to reading, mathematics, and it starts all from the kindergarten come up.
And you're right, because our kindergarten children are a great asset. Is where greatness begins.
That's exactly what they are. And you know what? It's beautiful too. What is it? The curfew, the handwriting. What's the word for that again now?
Cursive writing.
Cursive writing. That is well needed. In all our schools on this island, is well needed.
You know, that's a dying handwriting there.
But just keep up the good works, and I hope
yes, ma'am.
My grandson will pick up the reading sometime soon, and the other two, and I hope you become a good reader, and just keep up the good works, and hopefully we can get you all in the schools and put more.
Yes.
So you keep working with those grandchildren.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call.
Okay.
Have a good day.
And I'm hoping that I can collaborate with the government and get going.
Well, on that word, we're going to say goodbye. It's 2:30. Thank you all for being here and letting people know more about the importance of reading.
And thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for
That's
having
it
us.
for Talk Today. You have a great afternoon.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo footlong cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points, or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo footlong cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit CaymanAirways.com/cargo.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Freedom, Cayman Brac. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Talk Today is also brought to you by Mike's Builders. Call 923-0706. Mike Builders. They